Desmond Fambrini coming to you live from my living room. Today we will be discussing polarization. Not polar bears, like polar bears are giant, by the way. How big are those? Alexa, how big is a polar bear? 330 pounds. Anyway, we're not talking about polar bears. 330 pounds of cuteness. Win. We are actually talking about polarization, meaning the intense opposites, right? Polar opposites, the exact opposite. And how I feel like we are becoming very polarized. Things are either good or bad. The good guys or the bad guys. And there is no in between. I made a TikTok about Elon Musk. He installed some giant, Twitter now is called X, and it installed some giant sign. And everyone's like, oh, Elon Musk is a terrible person. And me being curious, I'm like, oh, well, why do you think Elon Musk is a terrible person? This person goes, he tweeted some things that were on the right. And I go, huh? The right of the political sphere? And of course, right, on social media, people can assume anything they want about me. I don't actually declare myself left or right. I just say I, in general, are just for teaching education and facts, and I'm accepting of all opinions, right? I don't think a teacher should really put their politics into their teaching. But that fascinated me. The idea of somebody proving Elon was a bad person was proving that he was on the right. That is a red flag for me. And I want to tell you why. It's not because I'm conservative or I'm on the right? But the idea that someone says Elon Musk is bad, and I'm going to prove to you he's bad by proving he is part of this group of people that I also think are bad. That is the most polarizing thing ever, and we see it go in the other direction, right? We see, oh, well, this individual isn't safe. Why is this individual not safe? Because he's queer, or he's non-binary, right? It's like, wait a second. You're saying he's not safe, and then you're saying he's not safe just by putting him with another group of people that you're also saying is completely not safe. That's a generalization. And you see both sides doing it, right? Because both sides are so polarized. The left is so convinced that the right is just terrible people and they have no values. And the right is so convinced that the left are terrible people with horrible values. To the point where things are so polarized, we can't even have a conversation anymore. Like it seems like it's near impossible. I'm sure there's gonna be people that are in this YouTube video being like, oh my God, like I can't even believe Desi is even gonna consider talking to somebody that's on the right or on the left. Or it's like, these are people. We're all human beings, right? And we shouldn't be making generalizations about people, and especially justifying those generalizations by bunching them with other groups of people we also have generalizations about. But that idea of like, this group of people, it's the dark side. This group of people, dun-da-da, Star Wars background theme, dun-da-da-da-da, is the light side or the Jedi side. No, there's good and bad things about everyone, right? Like literally everyone. And it bothers me that we've gotten to this point, right, where we won't even hear what other people have to say. Like, we'll just be like, oh, well, you said this, therefore you mean this, therefore you mean that, and therefore you're awful. And it's like, what are you? And that happened like today, right? But also it's like gender, right? Oh, I can't believe you're okay with they, them pronouns. They, them means you're okay with people that are queer, and people that are queer are okay with gender reassignment surgery, which means you're okay with kids transitioning, which means you're okay with making children trans and gay, and that's what you're doing. And it's like, whoa! But the other side does it too, right? It's like, oh, Elon Musk, he's bad. Why? Because he's rich. And he tweeted something that was fiscally conservative, economically conservative. And he believes in conservative politics, and therefore he's a bad person because he's greedy and he hates everyone. And if you buy a Tesla, you're also evil. And it's like, what? And like, don't get it twisted, like, I actually have had some friends that say something similar, but someone said that to me today on TikTok, and I'm like, we just went so far in a direction that we did not need to go, right? Like, there is an in-between. There is an in-between, in my opinion. I do have some people that are actually in my life, some of my closest friends, that kind of wholeheartedly say, there is no in-between. Either you're for just complete genocide of like the gays or you're not. And that's actually, there's some validity in that statement, right? Because some extreme opinions really are that extreme, and there's no talking to some people that are so extreme that you're like never gonna be able to get to you. But I don't think everyone is there. I feel like people are closer to the middle than they realize, but we've become so polarized that we just have to keep upping the extremes of both sides, and then there's gonna be like a falling out at this point, right? And you can kind of see that based on the political leaders that we've been like electing, right? I'm not saying anything bad or negative about either one, but it's like, just to show you, like going from Trump to Biden, like those are pretty opposite people. Like, right? You would think that a country would eventually kind of go in one direction, but like right now we're just ping-ponging back and forth between somebody who makes a whole bunch of policy, then repeals a whole bunch of policy, then repeals a whole bunch of policy, then remakes the policy. It's like, the Supreme Court's just going back and redoing a whole bunch of decisions that were already done. We're not actually getting anywhere because we're so polarized, and it's such a waste of time, in my opinion. So I did want to make a short video about kind of that idea of polarization. I think it's something to keep an eye out for. Are we going to the extremes? And are we making assumptions about people in extreme ways when it's not justified? Are we saying this person's good and that person's bad, and everything that person does is bad, and everything that person does is good, and everything that group of people does is good, and everything that group of people does is bad? That seems bad. That seems like a red flag. If I'm gonna qualify anything as bad, it would be that. Extreme, polarized opinions. Now that is bad. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep an eye out for more content. Don't forget to follow on all the other platforms like Instagram, TikTok. I don't know what Twitter is called. I don't even know if I have Twitter. I'll figure it out. Anyway, of course, I hope this helps.